So, Brian, you have a candidate that I think most of us would say is the most boring candidate possible, but you think it's actually pretty interesting. Tell us about this fish.
This is pretty off-brand for me, having the most boring and logical answer. Nonetheless, it does fuse multiple passions of mine. One being the Loch Ness Monster, two being fish. I love fish, and specifically river monsters. Jeremy Wade is one of my heroes. So shout out to him if he ever watches this. So this theory has gained a lot of popularity from one of the most famous Loch Ness Monster researchers, Adrian Shine. So if you've ever watched any Loch Ness Monster documentary, you've probably seen him. He's the guy with the really big, long white beard. Very famous Loch Ness Monster historian. This theory is that the Loch Ness Monster is actually a giant sturgeon. Sturgeons aren't necessarily found in Loch Ness. However, they are found in the seas surrounding the area, specifically the seas that the River Ness connects with, allowing the sturgeon to possibly be able to swim up the river and get into Loch Ness every once in a while. Another point in favor of the sturgeon is their immense size. A sturgeon can be huge. They have been found to be up to 20 feet, over 1,000 pounds. These are very, very large fish that can obviously be in freshwater. They've been found all over in North America, all over in Europe. So it's very feasible that they could have swam their way up into Loch Ness. And then, interesting thing about sturgeon, flashback to river monsters, one of my favorite episodes, Jeremy Wade is hunting for a terror in an Alaskan lake that had capsized a canoe. And the theory came out that a sturgeon actually swam up from the bottom because they like to swim at the bottom of these giant lakes. But sometimes they swim up and they will leap out of the water, and a huge 8 to 20 foot fish can obviously knock over a small canoe. So that can, in theory, be some of the reasons why you would see some odd like humps or like splashing. Some of those like movements you were talking about, Jeremy, were like twisting and swirling of the water. Also, I know that you mentioned the famous surgeon photo. Yes, we all know that one is probably fake. But another theory of that too is maybe they caught just a sturgeon jumping out of the water. If it wasn't faked, but probably was.
So like its tail, or is it like its...
Yeah, like its tail. Something like that. And one of the sightings that is most commonly referred to for this, in favor of it, is from Miss K. McDonald. And when she saw the creature, she reported seeing crocodile-like scales on the creature, which is in favor of the sturgeon because it does have armor-like scales, very large ones with like these white spikes that kind of come off of it. And if you're just looking at it under the water, you can see how it might look kind of crocodile-like.
All right, so first thing here is, I mentioned earlier that the sturgeon, I think a lot of us would think of as kind of the lamer candidate. But I think what we're forgetting here is sturgeon are really nuts. Like, they can grow to be very, very long. The largest freshwater fish ever caught is a beluga sturgeon that was over 23 feet long. So these things can be absolutely monstrous. They also look really old and really creepy. Like, they kind of look like dinosaur fish. If you see a video of a sturgeon near the surface, just sort of swimming away, it looks like a dinosaur. So, Brian, I'm guessing you would say that sturgeon is actually not as lame as we'd assume.
It is a very cool fish and very not lame. But yeah, like you were saying, like, its head is very distinct looking. And if you see its head swimming up, like, it could look like a legit sea monster, which it kind of is.
And we don't know that there's sturgeon in Loch Ness, but like you said, there have been sturgeon in the area, and it's plausible they could get in there.
Yes.
And sturgeon live in very deep water. Loch Ness is in a very unusually deep lake. So it's plausible to think if a sturgeon gets in there, lives deeply, comes to the surface occasionally, gets very old, very big, that's a good recipe for a monster sighting.
Absolutely.
Have there ever been, in any of the other lochs in Scotland, Had they found sturgeon in any of them?
Not to my knowledge, but I think Loch Ness is one of the few that's actually attached to the sea. Am I right on that?
I think they have found sturgeon in other locks in the area that are connected by the same waterway. So my understanding is they haven't found any specifically in Loch Ness, but they found some in surrounding water, so it's plausible they could be in there.
Yeah. They have found them in the sea that connects into Loch Ness.
Thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate it. And as you can tell, we are a brand new channel. So any subscribes, any likes, we really appreciate it. If you want to check out an older video we did on the same topic, check out the video where we talk about the original legend of St. Columba, the first Nessie sighting.
And also remember to leave a comment if you enjoyed this video and let us know who you agree with. And maybe we can tally up the points and see who won in the next episode.
Like and subscribe.